There was a viral TikTok the other day that this guy produced breaking down the garbage math of Toronto real estate. And then he called me out for being one of those agents that perpetuates this issue. He found a 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo in downtown Toronto that was leasing for $23.50 a month, and then he found the identical condo selling for $690,000. In his example, he said that even if you bought it outright with no mortgage, you'd still have property taxes of $363 a month and condo fees of $347, and then maintenance or like insurance for $100 a month, giving you a net cash flow of $1,540 per month. And even divide that by the purchase price, that would only give you an ROI of 2.68%. His argument is that he said that you do much better in a GIC making 5% or even a high interest savings account making 3.5%, and that Toronto real estate is all based on speculation and the price has to rationally go up in order for it to make money, so it's a bad investment. What do you think?
Look, I get it. The Toronto real estate market is confusing. Whether you're a new or experienced investor or just looking for a home to raise your family in, join us at Broadview Table Talks as you sit around the table with my friend to talk about the real estate and the ever-changing market in Toronto.
Hey, it's Kenneth here from Keller Williams, and I get his point, but look at it this way. $690,000 at 5% would give you an annual yield of $34,500. So if you put it in the bank, you got a GIC, that's what you get. Or it works out to about $2,875 per month before taxes. The key word is before taxes, as any kind of interest income that you make gets taxed at your marginal rate, and capital gains at the same time only gets taxed at half of that. So while it's awesome being a risk-free GIC and that's liquid, keep in mind that nearly half of that will be taxed, and this doesn't even count for inflation. I hope you realize that. If you account for inflation, you're slowly going to go broke, as the net profit after taxes won't even keep up with inflation. That is, the interest income that you earn from your original capital invested, or all that added up together, won't be able to make up for the loss in buying power once you cash out at the end of your term. It's not that I want to poop on interest income. I think that every portfolio should have a mix of both capital gains and interest income, especially as it grows in size. But let's face it, most people don't have $690,000 to invest, much less millions of liquid cash. They'll be lucky to have $100,000 to $200,000 liquid. So with only $100,000 to $200,000, the interest income that you make on that just won't get you rich. I mean, the difference between 2.68 and 5% is only 2.32%, which for $100,000, that would only give you $193 per month or $2,320 per year. Again, this is before you even count for taxes and inflation, which would put you in the worst position, put you even worse position in the long run. So instead, if you put into stocks or buy an asset like real estate and lever up, then you have the opportunity to capture price appreciation. One of the biggest benefits of price appreciation is that it's considered a capital gain, like I just mentioned, which is only half that gain would be counted towards your marginal tax rate or your income tax for the year. So if you decide to buy real estate as your primary residence that you live in, then that gain is completely tax-free. I'm sure you knew that if you're Canadian. But now I know that banking on capital gains is speculative in nature. You don't know if it'll go up or if it'll go down. But if it's real estate and it goes down, what if you just continue to hold it and you didn't sell it? What if you just continue to rent it out or you just lived in it yourself? You won't realize any losses as long as you can make the mortgage payments. Just stay in your position until the value goes back up. But again, what's the likelihood of the assets going back up? Well, in a country like Canada, where our government continues to spend more money than they do bring in through revenues, that deficit has to be covered by money created out of thin air through new credit formation. Basically, they're printing more money, and in turn, they're going to dilute the amount of currency supply out there, which reduces your purchasing power for the hard-earned cash that you save and put into a GIC. Normally, the Bank of Canada has inflation targets of 2%, meaning that the money you saved in the form of cash and cash deposits sit in the bank and other forms of investment that can be easily converted to cash, like GICs and things like that, will be worth 2% less by this time next year. Because all the money printing that was done during the economy shutting down, when the economy was shut down during COVID, all of Canada's entire money supply grew by 28% in just 2 years. Did you know that? We're facing a huge inflation problem, to no surprise, right? In a country like Canada, where our government continues to spend more money than they bring in through revenues, that deficit has to be covered by money created out of thin air through new credit formation. Basically, they're going to be printing more money, and in turn, they're going to dilute the amount of money supply out there, which reduces your purchasing power and the hard-earned cash that you have saved and put into a GIC. Normally, the Bank of Canada targets inflation rates of 2%, meaning that the money you've saved in the form of cash or cash deposits in the bank or any other forms of investments like the GICs that can be easily converted to cash will be worth 2% less in the following year. Because of the money that printing that was done during the economy when it was shut down during COVID, all of Canada's money supply grew by 28% in just 2 years of the pandemic. I wonder if you knew that. So, of course, we're facing a huge inflation problem. The purchasing power you have for your money that's saved in the bank right now is most likely shrinking by 4% a year or more, which means that the assets would be at the very minimum worth 2 to 4% more, because the cash required to buy them would be actually, worth 2 to 4% less every year. And this is just the way it is by design. So, let's add in some more complex problems like adding another million residents or new immigrants into Canada, half of them being permanent residents, the other half being temporary workers, study permits, and refugees, things like that. But guess what? No matter where they're coming from, they all need a place to live. And because of our aging population and declining birth rates that need to be supplemented to newcomers to the country, like that immigration policy isn't going to change anytime soon. And of course, we don't have enough housing for them. Canada can historically only build no more than 250,000 homes per year, and new household formations are drastically exceeding that amount because of the 1 million new residents. Surprise, surprise. And the fact is, it's getting more and more expensive to build new homes because the scarcity of raw land in major cities anyway, and increasing price of raw materials, skilled labor shortages, ballooning government taxes, and zoning complexities through like NIMBYism and things like that. Not to mention, did you realize that, just think about it, our entire development industry is on somewhat of a pause right now for the next few years because we're in a really uncertain interest rate and economic environment. There was a recent study that was done in the decade between 2021 and 2031. Ontario would need to build 1.5 million new homes or 1 million net new homes to keep up with the population growth and also from the underbuilding in the preceding 5 years. And this doesn't even count for the current 5 years that we're in and the future 5 years. So my basis for investing into Canadian real estate is because the fundamentals to me make sense. Yet, I get it, banking on real estate prices that continue to go up is price speculation by default, but I think it's based on solid fundamentals. I have a decent sized portfolio. I can't deny that, but it's not 9 figures worth. And until it hits 9 figures, I don't even think it will hit 9 figures, but if it did, I'd put that money into an interest income and then I'd live off the interest income. Why not? But until then, I'm going to continue to grow my investment portfolio by participating in rent appreciation and price growth rather than let it die slowly through a measly 5% GIC that gets taxed out and you'll lose out to inflation. Besides, there's plenty of other ways to force appreciation if you own real estate, such as increasing density multi-unit housing, adding more square footage, or even changing uses in commercial real estate. But if you're investing in Toronto condo, I know you can't do that, but there's an extremely high chance for rental growth and price growth because we live in a country with limited housing supply and overwhelming demand through immigration and new household formations. So if either rents or prices increase, then that's drastically going to change the yield or the ROI based on your capital invested, and you'll come out way ahead than instead of investing in a simple risk-free asset like GICs or high interest savings accounts. And of course, what I'm giving you is not investment advice. Each of our situations are different, and it's better if you do your own research. So I just think you'll go broke if you let your capital rot away in those savings accounts. So best of luck in your investment journey. But one thing, if you actually want to talk about your specific situation, please just go to our website or click one of the links below and you'll find a button to book a free 15-minute consultation to see how my team or I can help you achieve your real estate goals. So maybe you think I'm a crock of poop and you think that now is the time to cash out and you don't believe in the future of Toronto real estate, or you might see the upside in the market and you want to get in. Or maybe you just want to be concerned with your current holdings and you want to make sure that you want to have some clarity of where you stand. Either way, we're just one quick meeting request away and it's free. It's no obligation. Just book an appointment and talk to us from there. So Until then, I'll catch you next week. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks for watching.
Add it up.
Thanks for sticking out to the very end. I hope you got some value out of this. Do me a favor, please press like and subscribe. But more than anything, leave me some feedback so we know what to produce for you going forward. Thanks again.